Welcome back to another video of math. Today we're going to continue our work with fractions, and we're going to be talking about least common multiples, or LCM. You might also hear that known as a common denominator. Okay, and so what does that mean? As we move into adding and subtracting fractions, you're going to have to get a common denominator. That means they have to be the same. So today we're looking for the smallest number that is the same between 2 and 3 numbers. Okay, or we call it the least common multiple. I'll know you've got it when you can correctly complete at least 3 of the 4 exit ticket questions. And so what that looks like is there are 2 different examples here on this page, and it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to find the least common multiple, and so either way that you use is correct. Okay, so you just need to find out what works best for you. Alright, here we go. As always, you need to get a note sheet and your spiral, and you're going to glue that note sheet onto page 27, and also in your table of contents, make sure you put LCM, and you're going to use this pages 27, 28. I just like to always use 2 pages. You never know when we want to go back and add something in there. Alright, once you got that going, then come on back to the video. So feel free to pause it at any time, as usual. So the first thing, at the very, very top, what is the difference between a factor, because we have been finding the greatest common factor, and a multiple? Well, a factor is a number that divides into a whole number with a remainder of 0, or as we've talked about in class, any number that's multiplied to another number. So if you think about it, it's just that number that we use in division. A multiple, however, is the product of a number and a whole number, and you might recognize this as skip counting. So factors are numbers that we multiply together to get an answer, and then multiples are skip counting. There are 2 different ways to find the least common multiple, and like I said earlier, you can decide which one you want to use. So the listing method. The listing method, you'll have 2 or 3 numbers, and so you list the multiples of each number. And then what you have to do is determine the same multiple in each number. Okay. And of course we want it to be the smallest. Okay, what does that look like? So if I have the 2 numbers 10 and 25, I'm going to start off with 10. Sorry. I'm going to start off with 10, and I'm going to list the multiples of 10. So basically I'm skip counting by 10. So I'm going to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. And it continues, and I could write more, but I'm going to stop right there and then look at my other number and see if I need to go any further or not. Okay, so 25. If I skip count by 25, I always start with that very first number, the number that's given. So 25, and then I'm adding another 25, so that's 50. And then 75 and 100, and I'm going to look now to see if I have a common number. And so the tens doesn't have anything that ends with a 5, so I'm going to look at my 50, and of course 10 has a 50. So my least common multiple for 10 and 25 is 50. And I would write it like this. So I just listed the multiples, skip counting, and then I found the smallest number that was the same. Next, it looks a little bit different when you have 3 numbers, okay, but same idea. I'm going to start with 8. So 8, again, start off with the number that you're given, and then 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56. I'm going to stop there and do 10. So of course 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I'm going to stop there. 20. Got 20, 40, 60. So I was just skip counting by those. And now I have to look, when I have 3 numbers, the smallest number that's common for all 3. So I'm looking at 20, and of course 10 has 20, but 8 does not have 20. And I'm seeing that they all have 40. So the LCM of 8, 10, and 20 is 40. So that is one method, the listing method. The other method is using the cakewalk. So we use the cakewalk to find greatest common factor and simplifying fractions. So how do we do this? We complete the cakewalk just like we normally would, but we multiply, all the factors on the side or sides and the numbers on the top. Okay, and you'll see what letter it makes as you multiply all those numbers. I'm going to use the same numbers as our examples so that you can see that you get the same answers with the listing method. Okay, so the cake, obviously we're going to start with 10 and 25. And a number that will go into both is 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 25 divided by 5 is 5. I can't make another layer. So now I multiply the numbers on the top and the sides. And I want you to see what letter this makes. Okay. Of course, it's a sideways L. Get it? For LCM. And when we multiply all these, 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 5 is 50. So the LCM is 50. Just like we found with the listing method. Next example with 3. With 3 is a little bit different. So again, we're going to put all 3 in. And I see that they're all even numbers, so I'm going to divide by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Now, I can make another layer because 5 will go into 10. Okay, so I'm going to make another layer, and I'm going to put 5 out here. It doesn't work for the 4, so I'm going to bring the 4 up. Okay, and 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. So as long as I can divide at least 2 of the numbers, then I can just bring the other ones up. So again, I can make another layer, and I can divide by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 1 doesn't work, so I just bring it up, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. I cannot make another layer. So now I'm ready to multiply, and I'm going to make that big L, the side numbers, and the top. Okay, so 2 times 5 is 10, times 2 is 20, times 2 is 40, times 1 is still 40, times 1 is still 40. So the LCM here, again, is 40, which is exactly what we used or found with the listing method. Alright, a special note that you'll need to just add to your spiral notebook on the lined paper. If you are using the cake method and there are no numbers that you can divide into them, so they have no common factors, you just multiply them. So in this case, we have 3 and 8, and neither 3 doesn't go into 8, 3 is prime, it doesn't work, and so all we do is multiply them. And so the common factor here, or the least common multiple is 24. And just to prove that, I'm going to show the listing method. So for 3, we would have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, and 8, we would have 8, 16, 24. And so, as you notice, they both have 24. But if you're using the cake, that's just a little bit tricky, I guess. And I wanted you to be aware of it. Alright, what's next? You're going to get a worksheet, and there are 12 problems. 8 of them just have 2 numbers. 4 of them have 3 numbers. You can use either method. It doesn't matter to me. And if you need to, get a piece of lined paper and show your work on that lined paper, not on a dry erase board. You're just going to do it on this paper. And if you've listened to the video, you can listen to music while you're working on your homework. But before you begin, I want you to rate yourself. How are you feeling about this? 1, 2, 3, or 4? 4 meaning, yeah, I feel pretty confident about this. And then, after you practice it a little bit and get it scored, then I want you to re-rate yourself. Once you're done, you're going to get it graded by the teacher, and then get the exit ticket, and so you'll have that feedback right away. And if there's time, you can work on extra math or IXL. It's E8, which is least common multiple, and just get some more practice with this. Okay, if you feel confident about it, you can always work on C5 and C6, that long division. We just need to get better at that. So, alright, that's the end of the video, and I will see you soon. And don't forget, go Hawks!